In part 2 of the series, Professor Brian Cox explores the phenomenon of Schrodinger's party, a Christmas party that takes place inside a sealed box and is both there and not there at the same time. He explains that this is not to be confused with letting the cat out of the bag, which can destroy the experiment. Unless it's a fat cat, in which case nothing happens and no one gets the blame. That's Visiting Planet Boris, tomorrow evening at 7:45. But now on Radio 4, we go over live to the grand old Eastgate Theatre in Downtown Peebles, Scotland, for the traditional Amerrycana Christmas, brought to you as always by the Downright Homespun Radio Company. While over on Longwave, it's the Archers, and Hazel Woolley is about to take a trip on the Orient Express.
Welcome, one and all, to the 2021 Amerrycana Christmas Show, broadcasting live from the grand old Eastgate Theatre in Downtown Peebles, Scotland. The last time we gathered on this stage, in front of a live audience in December 2019, we had just elected a pantomime horse as Prime Minister. We were preparing to leave the European Union for the sunny uplands of a more prosperous and internationally popular Great Britain. And on page 27 of the Saturday editions in the quirky news about people not like us section, there was a report about some foreign place called Wuhan where a virus had broken out. Probably because those people just don't know how to wash their hands properly. Anyway, not our problem.
2 years on, and here we are, masked up and with cleaner hands than we've ever had in our entire lives. We couldn't have imagined back there that scraping the edges of your brain with a cotton bud would become as routine as changing your socks. Or that the subject of the weather could finally be supplanted as the main topic of a casual conversation in the queue at the medical hall.
Here in Peebles, the Christmas lights are strung along the high street, the festive turkeys are lined up for collection in the Masonic Hall, and the town is holding its collective breath for the start of the traditional Rogerson's Boxing Day sale. And speaking of tradition, we've got an entire DHRC Amerrycana Christmas show to look forward to this evening, with whip-cracking music and razor-sharp comedy to lift your spirits. Which isn't to say that we're not also just a little on edge tonight. We're all a little mindful of the current outbreak of the "oh my god" variant, and the importance of wearing your mask throughout the time that you're with us here in the theatre. You'll see us without masks because we're performing here on stage, and the alternative is like listening to your radio underwater. But we're relying on you to stay masked tonight and clap all the louder whenever you get the opportunity. However, as much as possible during our show tonight, we're following the advice of Basil Fawlty, who said,
Don't mention mentioned the virus. I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it.
Which is not to say that we can ignore the past 2 years. Many of us have lost loved ones and friends to the virus. Many have lost jobs, livelihoods, relationships, and opportunities. We've had a devastating reminder of our human frailty and our dependence on each other, worldwide as well as here in our community in Peebles. So we're here tonight to commemorate our losses and to celebrate our interdependence by doing what we do best, bringing you music from our DHRC house band, newly assembled and highly polished for tonight's performance, and freshly minted comedy from our Royal Company of Radio Actors.
Bobby Barr is back with another tricky case later in the show, and council workers Bert and Sam are setting up the council Christmas trees around the borders town. Old friends Angus and Gordon are back at their usual table in the Tweedy tea room, while overlooking the Tweed Green, while Dr. Clement Gunn joins our cast for the very first time with stories from his medical practice in Dr. Gunn's casebook.
But first up on our show tonight, the Downright Homespun Radio Company has been out and about on Peebles High Street during this busy Christmas shopping season. With one of the best high streets in Britain, Peebles attracts more than its fair share of celebrity shoppers looking for that perfect present to put under the tree. Who's this, for instance, just stepping out of Boots the chemist with a festive shopping bag? Why, it's Ricky Gervais.
Here we are, in Peebles. It's my favourite town, yeah. I mean, it has this high street, right? A lovely high street, goes all the way down from the Eastgate, where we are now, all the way down to the parish church. I love it, I do. And whenever I'm in town, which I try to do every Christmas, I always visit the Orange Grove. Yeah, the veggie shop. You've been there, haven't you, madam? Yeah. I mean, it's terrific, isn't it? I mean, it just sits there, produce on the pavement, getting wet, usually, and I queue to get in and buy my dirty carrots. No, it's not a joke. You've got a filthy mind, haven't you? Yeah. So try it. You maybe know it already. You won't be disappointed. And remember, buy local and tell them Ricky sent you.
Ricky Gervais there. Shopping local this Christmas time. Well, we can't put it off any longer. Let's crank up the bellows and stub out those cigarettes. It's time to hear from our DHRC house band. They're live here on stage for the first time in 2 years, singing about Peebles High Street with You Meet the Nicest People.
The nicest people everywhere around Christmas time.
Happy holiday
You meet the nicest people just like everyone here.
Happy holiday, happy holiday.
And I can understand why the very same people who laugh so freely and sing so gaily can be so gloomy the other days of the year. Feel the nicest around Christmas time.
Merry, merry, merry Christmas to
The
you.
warmest feeling, full of holiday cheer.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
And the world be a nice place to live in if everybody would be the nicest, warmest, friendliest Christmassy sort of people every day of the year. Be a nice place to live in if everybody would be the nicest, warmest, Christmassy sort of people every day of the year. Meet the nicest people everywhere around Christmas.
Happy holiday
Meet
to
the
you.
nicest people just like everyone here.
Happy holiday, happy holiday.
And wouldn't the world be a nice place to live in if everybody would be the nicest, warmest, friendliest, Christmassy sort of people every day of the year. Every day
What are you looking so glum about?
Oh, it's the bowls cancelled again. The green's under 6 inches of water from the Tweed, which seems to be flooding more and more these days.
Aye, and I've noticed it's getting difficult getting the hay in late summer. The fields seem to be wetter with the summer rains. It's not like it was when we were younger.
And I've noticed it's getting warmer. Now that's got to be a good thing. I mean, I've got a nice tan and the dahlias are looking terrific. I fancy growing an olive tree in the garden next year and maybe one of them palm plants. Something I would never have thought of before, but I think I might just get away with it now, which is terrific.
Aye, and the grass starts growing way earlier than it used to, but it just means an extra cut or two with a lawnmower. It's not a big problem. That's if I can ever get it back for the Tweedside garden machinery place.
Do you know, it's almost like the climate's changing.
I think I heard something about that in the news, but you know, I'm not sure I see what all the fuss is about. We're fine here in Peebles.
Aye, apart from the bowls getting flooded out.
And the hay becoming a problem.
Aye, but anyway, we're doing our bit. We recycle our plastic supermarket bags. And the wife's decided we're no having mince on an Monday anymore.
And what about the other days of the week?
Oh, that's still fine. And I usually get extra to make up for not having it on a Monday.
Oh, excuse me, gentlemen. It's rather crowded in here today. Would you mind if I shared a table with you?
Not at all, young lady. We'd be very happy for the company.
I'm just waiting for Mrs. Tweedy to bring over my organic fair trade raspberry infusion, made from berries grown right here in Scotland. Are you two gentlemen drinking low-carbon drinks?
Low what? That's certainly low on taste, if that's what you mean. I've not seen you in here before, lass.
Oh, I'm here for the Insulate Peebles March down the High Street. Are you two coming along? It's for a really important cause. The most important cause in the world right now. Protecting planet Earth. It'll be good to have lots of us there. We need the numbers.
Oh, I'm no sure.
Oh, this is important. We're talking about saving the planet here, you know? Even if it means giving up some stuff that makes our lives comfortable, we've all got to do our bit. The Earth is heating up. Climates are changing. Ecosystems are dying. People are dying. We have to do something to show our leaders that this is important.
Oh, well, we're just talking about that. I don't think we'll be joining you. I don't know what all the fuss is about. I mean, I put some fiberglass in the loft about 40 years ago. That's enough, sure.
And global warming. My gas bill's astronomical. I mean, we could do with some extra heat here and there to make the winter months a wee bit easier on the pocket.
Change Peebles into the Costa del Sol. Sounds good to me.
I'm fed up to the back teeth are hearing that sort of nonsense. I'm sorry, but that is just typical of you older generation. You just don't care, do you? There's massive forest fires in Australia, biblical floods in Germany. Entire countries are starting to disappear under rising sea levels. We have to stop this. We need to do something. We can do something. It's not too late yet, but it needs all of us to change our ways.
Aye, but floods, rising sea levels. I mean, we're all right here in Peebles. And anyway, we do our bit. We recycle our supermarket bags.
I've started having oat milk in my tea.
And I'm going to plant an olive tree because it's so warm. I need to absorb carbon from the atmosphere.
Aye, right. Do you two guys have bus passes?
Aye, we do.
And did you get the bus to come here?
No, I took the car and I had to pay 20p to park. It's outrageous.
Me too, and it's raining, you know.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
What?
Well, blah, blah, blah. It's hot air. It amounts to nothing. It's fiddling while Rome burns. You two need to make a big change. We all do. We're not doing enough right now. No one is. This world is dying. We need to stop burning oil and fossil fuels. All this talk is just hot air. We need to act and now. Use your bus. Turn off your gas heating. Stop eating meat.
Oh, Gordon already does that. Don't you, Gordon?
Well, sort of. On a Monday, anyway.
Look, I'm taking action with this march today. I'm trying to make a difference. You guys should do the same. Insulate the hell out of your houses. Get rid of your cars. You guys could join me. I'm not the only one. Show you are serious about combating climate change. Make our leaders in Westminster and Holyrood see that this is more important than anything else.
You're quite passionate about this, aren't you?
Yes, I am, because I'll be alive when everything goes tits up. And with respect, you won't. Methane is bubbling out of the Siberian tundra. The glaciers of Greenland are melting and throwing off the Gulf Stream. The climate in Peebles is going to get colder in winter, much colder, not warmer. We need to act, and now. Anyway, that's me finished my fruit tea. Maybe I'll see you guys later. Please come. And if you have children or grandchildren, please come.
Well, maybe.
Just for now. Think about it, will you? Remember, there's no planet B.
Well, that's this dealt.
Quite a little Greta, wasn't she?
Do you think she has a point?
I've not really thought about it. I suppose so, but what could we do?
Join her, I suppose. I mean, I do have grandkids I need to think about. I mean, what sort of a world will they inherit?
Let's have another locally sourced hot drink and scone and think about what we could do.
Aye.
A big hand, please, for our special guest, Elsa Miller. Joining Steve Lee and Robert Barr as lifelong friends Angus and Gordon, enjoying the hospitality of the Tweedy Tea Room, down there off the High Street and overlooking Tweed Green. Cafes come and go in Peebles, but the Tweedy Tea Room has been serving the local community since before the First World War. Mrs. Tweedy's pharmacy-strength coffee from the I-Beam Coffee Company is better than any vaccine, and has been preventing sneezes and diseases in Peebles since 1908. Dishwater drinks with suspicious foam toppings are all very well, but when you need a cup of industrial builder's tea that coats your teeth and shrinks your skin, served from a traditional aluminium teapot, head over to the Tweedy Tea Room. Please note that toilets are for paying customers only. Alcohol hand sanitizer is available for use before you enter the cubicle, but please ensure it's completely dry before handling those delicate areas of your anatomy. The Tweedy Tea Room, down there off the High Street and overlooking Tweed Green.
And we'll be hearing more from Angus and Gordon after the interval this evening. Coming up in this first half of the show, however, Bobby Barr has a beautiful and mysterious visitor to his office on the top floor of the old Beaches building, and Chick Fowl is out to lunch, as usual. Before that, please welcome a DHRC house band on stage, channeling Ella Fitzgerald with I've Got My Love to Keep Me Warm.
The snow is snowing, the wind is blowing, and I can weather the storm. Why do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I can't remember a worthless December. Just watch those icicles fall. Why do I care how much it may storm? I've got my love to keep me warm. I'm with my overcoat, up with my gloves. Who needs a lower coat? I'm burning with love, my heart's on fire. The flame grows higher.
DHRC House Band, keeping us warm this Christmas time. You're listening to the Downright Homespun Radio Company, broadcasting live from the grand old Eastgate Theatre in Downtown Peebles. We've got a fine audience in tonight. It's not a party, it's just a gathering. And there's a warm fog of alcohol in the air to kill off any bugs.
Whether you're here in the auditorium or out there, tuning in to the FM signal with a coat hanger aerial, or picking us up on shortwave via our international network transmitter array, or even using the new DHRC phone app to stream our show using digital interweb node packet DNS transfer protocols. You're welcome to the 2021 Amerrycana Christmas. Now, our show isn't complete, apparently, without a report from our food and drink correspondent, Chick Fowl. Originally from Kansas in the United States, Chick made Peebles his home 12 years ago after a mix-up at the immigration desk at Edinburgh Airport, and he's been bringing us his unique perspective on all things food and drink ever since. By the magic of radio, he's on the line now to tell us what he's been up to. Hey, Chick!
Hey, Robin! It's your old pal Chick here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and this year I'm carrying out a survey of Peebles coffee shops.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of them on Peebles High Street, Robert, but really, are there any at all?
That's deep, Chick.
Yeah. Well, you know me, Robert, but seriously, do the coffee shops in Peebles have what it takes? What do you expect from a good coffee shop, Robert?
Coffee?
Well, that's a good start, I guess, but don't you want anything else? Because if it's just coffee you want, there are lots of places to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want good food, a comfortable place to sit, maybe some good music, what about a sustainability policy and a nice atmosphere? Does Peebles really have anywhere like that? I mean, personally, I just like a good cake with my coffee, but other people may want something else. What is the perfect blend when it comes to a coffee shop, and does anybody fit that bill in Peebles?
Tough job, Chick. I suppose somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to find out what the coffee shops of Peebles are really like. When it comes to coffee and food, I know a thing or two. It's what I do for a living. I drink a lot of coffee and I eat a lot of cake. It's all part of my daily grind.
Do you want another piece of coffee and walnut cake there, son?
Yeah, please, yeah. Another one of your large, extra large pieces. Oh, and another double espresso as well.
So where are you now, Chick?
I'm in the oven door, Robert.
Right they are, son. Are you wanting another cushion for your chair?
No, I'm perfectly fine, thanks.
Sounds like they're looking after you there, Chick.
Oh, yeah, it's great here. It's relaxed and it's homely. It's like going round to my mum's for a coffee and a chat.
That's fine, son. I'll get your coffee and your cake now.
Thanks.
Hey, Worak! We've got a weirdo at table one. He's talking to himself.
Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. So I've decided I'm going to start at one end of the high street and work my way all the way to the other end, testing out all the coffee shops on the way. Then I'll espresso myself right here on the show. I better be careful what I say, of course, or I'll maybe cause a latte problems.
Every coffee shop, really? That's a lot of coffee and cake, Chick.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
So, have you been anywhere else yet?
Yeah, I went to the potting shed.
Aha, and?
Well, I found out it's not a garden centre, Robert. And who knew?
I didn't.
Yeah, it's a cafe, okay, but it also sells knickknacks and art, which I guess works okay. But it has the longest walk to the loo I've ever come across in a cafe. Still, it all helps get the daily steps up.
Double espresso and an extra large coffee and walnut cake, son.
Yeah. Here, let me pay for that.
Credit card? Oh no, son. Sorry, son. It's only cash you take here.
Cash only? Who carries cash these days? Look, Robert, it looks like I'm going to have to nip out to the cash line machine for a moment.
Okay.
So, hey, speak to you later.
Yep.
Oh, and Robert.
Yes, Chick?
Don't worry. Beef frappe.
I'm sorry I asked. That's Chick Fowl, our food and drink correspondent, with that fabulous report. We'll be hearing from Chick again all too soon, I'm afraid, but first, the Downright Homespun Radio Company has been out and about on Peebles High Street during this busy Christmas shopping season. With one of the best high streets in Britain, Peebles attracts more than its fair share of celebrity shoppers looking for that perfect present to put under the tree. Who's this, for instance? Just stepping across the road outside the Tontine Hotel with a festive shopping bag. Why, it's Bill Nye.
My favourite shop in Peebles has to be Scott Stores. I mean, it's great. It has everything you need. I always get my galvanised nails there, brasso, and other assorted hardware essentials. You can keep your B&Q. For me, there's only one hardware outlet, and that's in Peebles. Scott Stores. How lucky you are. Oh, and don't forget the garden centre. Long and thin. I love it.
That's Bill Nye, ladies and gentlemen. Spilling one of Peebles' best-kept secrets, the fabulous Scott Brothers Hardware Emporium, along there in the middle of the high street. Open throughout the lockdown period for all those essentials, including bath plugs, fuses, hacksaw blades, turpentine, tap washers and garden tools. There really ought to be an episode of Miller's Time devoted to Scott's Emporium. But there isn't time right now, because Kathy Kennedy and the DHRC House Band are back on stage and on their feet for the Christmas Waltz.
Santa's on his way. He's filled his sleigh with things for you and for me. It's that time of year when the world falls in love. Every song you hear seems to say Merry Christmas, may your New Year dreams come true. And this song of mine in 3/4 time wishes you and yours the same thing too.
It's not often we find ourselves on this road to Peebles twice in a month, Stan.
Aye, right enough, Bert. Most of the council spending happens east of Cloven Forts. I think a lot of the councillors still think that the Tweeddale's not really part of the borders.
Well, it is practically Edinburgh, Stan.
It's true, you can almost smell the hops brewing for here.
I still don't get it, Stan. We've been up this road to Peebles just a few weeks ago, and we delivered that Christmas tree already. Peebles was the first on the list.
Aye, that's right, Bert.
And we've been driving around for the past 3 weeks delivering council trees to every town in the borders.
And very festive they look too, Bert.
So why are we driving back up to Peebles today with a load of fresh Christmas trees in the back of a truck?
Well, there was a problem with the Peebles tree, Bert.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
They said it was our wee. They complained to the council if it was shorter than the 2 lampstands next to it, and it looked ridiculous, it is.
Aye, but all the Christmas trees were small this year, Stan.
It's true, all the border towns got short trees this year after the council got their feet mixed up with their meters.
Aye, and these 3-foot trees do look a bit
ridiculous. This is the word you're looking for, Bert.
Aye. So I suppose the people of Peebles have got a point, Stan.
Of course they've got a point, Bert, but that's not the point.
No. So what is the point, Stan?
The point is, Bert, that as usual, Peebles was the only town in the borders with the downright audacity to complain about it.
Typical of these entitled Edinburgh people to dare to complain about their council, Stan.
Indeed it is.
So what's the plan, Stan? Here we are, heading back up the road to Peebles with a load of Christmas trees in the back of a truck. But as far as I can see, these trees are the same size as the ones we've been putting up everywhere, including Peebles.
It's a clever solution they've come up with doing at the council, Bert. The people of Peebles want a bigger tree, so we're heading out there to give them one.
How are we going to do that, Stan?
Simple, Bert. You see that hammer and nails and bits of timber down there in the footwell?
Aye.
Well, we've got 10 of these 3-foot trees in the back of the truck, so the boss has told us
to nail them all together to make one big tree.
You've got it, Bert.
Oh, that is genius, Stan.
No one will see the joints once they've hung a few Christmas lights on it, and the people of Peebles won't know the difference.
Here's Peebles High Street now, Stan. Let's pull over here by the parish church.
Is there something wrong with my eyes, Bert, or has that tree grown since you put it up there?
Well, it certainly doesn't look right. That tree must be 20 feet tall at least.
Come on, let's have a closer look.
Now, there's a notice on the tree stand over here.
What does it say?
This tree was donated by Millers of Peebles and sponsored by the Make Peebles Great Again campaign, rectifying Scottish Borders council mistakes since 1974.
I've never heard the name.
Well, whoever they are, it looks like they've made our job a bit easier.
Aye, right enough, Bert. No need for us to nail these little trees together now.
Aye. Let's get ourselves back to the depot, Stan.
Right they are, Bert, but what are we going to do with all these wee trees in the back of the truck?
I tell you what, Stan, we'll take the truck around the streets of Peebles and we'll see if anybody's needing a tree.
We've been up and down a lot of these streets, Bert, but everybody in Peebles seems to be sorted for a tree already. They're well organised for Christmas up here in Peebles, Bert. Lights up along the high street, nativity scenes on the church steps, trees in the window, it's all very neat and tidy.
Right enough, Stan. We may as well get down the road. Maybe we can use these trees for firewood.
Turn right up here and we'll head along the Edinburgh Road to the roundabout.
Wait a minute, Stan. What's that up ahead at the side of the road?
You mean just up there on the left-hand side opposite the Eastgate car park, Bert? It looks like somebody's been fly tipping.
Aye, Stan, there's a great heap of tangled scrap metal dumped at the side of the main road.
Stop the truck!
Oh, what a terrible eyesore this is, Stan. At least it's partly in the shadows. Imagine a mess like this if it was lit up with street lamps as well.
It's unthinkable, Bert.
The thing is, Stan, it falls upon us to clean up a mess like this. But the truck's already full of these wee Christmas trees.
But we can't leave a hideous eyesore like this lying at the side of the road in Peebles over Christmas time, Bert. Wait a minute, I've got an idea.
What is it, Stan?
Help me get these trees unloaded for the truck.
Well, what are we going to do, Stan?
We can solve both problems at once, Bert. Come on, help me stand these Christmas trees up side by side, right round this heap of scrap, rust and metal. We'll screen it off for the road.
Oh, that is genius again, Stan. If the people of Peebles won't have to endure seeing this roadside monstrosity over Christmas, and we can come and take a whole lot to a recycling centre in January.
Everyone's a winner, Bert. Come on, let's get the trees unloaded.
Council workers Bert and Stan making the best use of scarce resources there as they cover up a local eyesore. For local services that somehow always leave you wanting more, you can rely on Scottish Borders Council. Our new extra large domestic bins mean that your rubbish now only needs to be collected twice a year, leaving resources free to pay for boarding up public toilets, and giving incentives to developers to build edge-of-town housing estates out of recycled cardboard and old wallpaper paste. Scottish Borders Council, laughing at you, not with you, since 1974.
Coming up next, local detective Bobby Barr is in his office on the top floor of the old Beaches building, wondering whether he can get a sausage roll now that Greg's isn't across the road. But before that, how would you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? Of course you would. Our award-winning DHRC house band is live on stage to take us there.
How'd you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? How'd you like to spend the holiday away across the sea? How'd you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? How'd you like to hang your stocking on a great big coconut tree? How'd you like to stay up late like the islanders do? Wait for Santa to sail in with your presents in a balloon. If you ever spend Christmas on Christmas Island, you will never strip for every day your Christmas dreams come true. How'd you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? How'd you like to spend your holiday away across the sea? How'd you like to spend Christmas on Christmas Island? How'd you like to hang your stocking on a great big coconut tree? How'd you like to stay up late like the islanders do? Wait for Santa Christmas dreams come true.
High above Peebles High Street, in the attic rooms of the old Veitch's building, are the offices of Bobby Barr, private detective. Missing wives and wayward husbands, corrupt officials and plain old dirty dealings, he's seen it all. If you need someone to follow that cab, rifle through that drawer, climb through the window of that empty apartment and dig up the dirt, call into the offices of Bobby Barr. Cash in advance, expenses are extra, and don't call on a Wednesday afternoon if you know what's good for you.
It was December in Peebles. The last of the lunchtime high school students were drifting back over the road, scattering pastry crumbs and sweet wrappers on the pavement outside the boarded up shop that used to be Greg's. A thin sleet blew against my window panes, rattling the broken blinds. The sun had already disappeared over the horizon. I tried cranking up the ancient metal radiator against the wall by my desk, but it just made a gurgling sound and stayed stubbornly lukewarm. Business had been slow, and my cash reserves were at rock bottom. Crime seems to have plummeted since all this pandemic business began. I needed to find a job, and soon. I was looking up the street to see if there was a space under the canopy in the line for a Forsyth sausage roll, when I heard the sound of footsteps in the stairwell. It sounded like a pair of high heels, and they were heading towards my office. I took a long last draw on my cigarette before putting on a face mask. Come in. The door's unlocked.
Mr. Barr,
She was tall. She was dark. She was wearing a blood-red dress that hugged her body so tight it left little to the imagination. But my imagination got to work anyhow. Her matching red mask was stretched so tightly across her mouth I could see her perfectly formed lips moving seductively against the fabric, straining to be set free.
Mr. Barr, I understand you can investigate difficult problems.
That's right.
Is it all right if I slip out of this mask, Mr. Barr? It's so restricting.
Of course. Mine started to get a bit tight as well. Why don't we both take them off together? I breathed out the smoke from my cigarette and breathed in a lungful of her intoxicating perfume. What can I do for you, Miss
Red. Ruby Red, but just call me Ruby, please.
Of course, of course, Ruby. What can I do for you?
Take a closer look at my mask, won't you, Mr. Barr?
Your mask?
Yes, here, take it. I'm sure you'll agree it's an excellent mask.
She handed me the mask she'd just taken off. It was warm, soft and silky to touch, unlike the rough blue mask I just dropped in the rubbish bin beside me. Yes, it's a very nice mask, Miss Ruby.
It's made of the finest wool grown right here in the Manor Valley. It's double layered with a gusset for a high micron antibacterial filter. It's designed to last 5 years and it's completely biodegradable. It's licensed for health professionals, but fashionable for any social occasion.
I see. That's very impressive, Ruby. What's this got to do with me? Are you selling these masks?
I make them, Mr. Barr. In my industrial unit at South Parks, I employ 6 local Peebles people who cut and sew masks and aprons. We also make sterile gloves, face shields, and coveralls, all from locally produced materials.
So you make PPE?
That's right. And I need your help, Mr. Barr. Something's going on and I need your help to put it right.
What's that?
Government contracts, Mr. Barr. You can't sell PPE without a contract, and I can't get one.
I see.
Just about every high street shop in this town sells PPE under a government contract, Mr. Barr. Rogerson's Shoe Shop, Forsyth's the Butcher, the Key Store, the Co-op, Castle Warehouse, Caldwell's Ice Cream, Breezart, and the Central Bar. They all sell PPE for the government, Mr. Barr. How on earth does a shoe shop and an ice cream parlor qualify to sell PPE while a manufacturer of the stuff doesn't?
And why can't you get a contract?
That's the mystery, Mr. Barr. I've tried and I've tried, and I just get told there are no contracts available. Then the next day, another corner store in Peebles gets one.
Can't you supply these shops with PPE they're supplying to the government?
Oh, Mr. Barr, I've been down that road. They're all getting their PPE from another supplier, and I tell you, it's not a patch on mine. I'll show you.
She reached into her pocket and pulled out another mask. She handed it over. It was rough to the touch, crudely made compared with the smooth, silky item she'd handed me earlier. I see what you mean, Ruby. But this one's mass-produced and doesn't feel very comfortable. And they're all selling the same stuff.
They are.
The thing is, I'm not sure there's anything here for me to investigate. It's really a job for your local MP, don't you think?
Oh, Mr. Barr, I've tried that already. I went to see my local MP, Mr. Mundane.
Mundane?
Well, isn't he mundane?
He is, but his name's Mundell.
Oh, is he hyphenated?
I understand he is, a lot of the time.
Well, anyway, I went to see him, and all he did was read out quotations from Boris Johnson's speeches. He didn't seem to be able to say anything for himself, and now he refuses to see me at all. I don't know what else to do, Mr. Barr, and that's why I've come to see you. I think there's something rotten going on, and I want you to find out what it is. I don't know where else to turn.
I'll tell you what, Ruby. I'll make some inquiries, but there's no guarantees.
That's all I ask, Mr. Barr.
It's cash up front and expenses are extra.
Of course.
She stood up, taking another silky red mask from her pocket and slipping it on. She slowly lifted the hem of her blood-red dress and twisted her fingers into the top of a black suspender belt, somehow producing a tight roll of £20 notes. She peeled off half a dozen and laid them on the desk. Even from 2 meters away, I could still tell they were still warm.
Will this be enough?
That's plenty, thanks, Miss Ruby. I'll see what I can find out and give you a call.
Oh, that's wonderful, Mr. Barr. You'll find my number on the label inside the mask I gave you. You can keep that one if you like.
I'll keep it close by me, Ruby. Thanks. And with that, she was gone. I sat for a while running her blood-red mask through my fingers and wondering how many times she worn it before today. Government PPE contracts weren't exactly what I'd been imagining I might talk with her about, but there didn't seem much mileage in it as a case. I decided to visit a lawyer friend of mine. Hamish had his ear to the ground, and if anything untoward was going on locally with PPE contracts, he'd know about it.
I don't know anything about it, Bobby. PPE contracts? What, is there so little crime going on that you're reduced to chasing around after medical supplies?
Oh, come on now, Hamish. There's got to be something odd about a chocolate shop and a local butcher selling PPE equipment to the government. And this woman makes the stuff and she can't even get a look in.
Now, give me a look at that mask again, will you? No, not her one, the other one the guys are selling. It's mass-produced, that's for sure. Let's just see.
What are you doing? You'll rip it.
That's the whole idea. There, now, let's have a look. Aha, you see this here? A wee factory label. Probably stock control or something.
What does it say?
Well, there's some numbers and a wee picture.
What's the picture?
It's a leaf, like a fern leaf in silver.
Silver fern. That's the symbol of the All Blacks.
The All Blacks?
Well, well, Hamish, the New Zealand All Blacks are mixed up in this somehow.
Wait a minute. All Blacks, New Zealand. Come away from that window, Bobby. Look, you don't know what you're getting yourself into here. I suggest you just walk away from this. Tell her you don't know.
You know me better than that, Hamish. I'm already on the case. Now, what's going on? Come on. What's the All Blacks got to do with PPE being sold in the streets of Peebles?
Look, Bobby, if anybody asks...
I know if anybody asks, I didn't hear it from you.
That's right. Now listen, it's only rumour and hearsay, but a couple of months ago...
It was typical Hamish. A mixture of local gossip and putting two and two together from inside political knowledge, and things he picked up from clients in the drunk tank at 3 AM on Saturday morning. It was a story of corruption and backhanders and plain old greed, but in the centre of it all lay my client was causing problems for some unsavoury characters, both here and out of town. He mentioned the network of distribution being made in fake Amazon Prime vehicles.
Fake Amazon Prime vehicles!
As I walked back along the high street, I turned it all over in my mind. I stopped in at the new Greg's store, pushing my way through the Peebles High School sixth year, who seemed to have taken up residence there. I bought a sausage roll and a double-strength coffee in a paper cup. As I was turning to leave, I noticed the door to the back shop was open and the delivery was coming in. I saw boxes marked PPE, this way up, all upside down. There were silver ferns printed on the sides of the boxes, and parked outside the rear entrance was a grey Amazon Prime van. I had a hunch, and I slipped down the narrow alley at the back of the shop in time to see two delivery men climbing back into the cab of the van. My car was parked back up in the high street, where it always was. So I dashed back up and fired up the engine as the Amazon Prime van pulled out onto the street and headed east, out of the town. I eased into this vast stream of traffic and followed them down the road towards Inner Reason.
What will our hero discover as he follows the mysterious grey van? Where does a mask from New Zealand fit into the puzzle? Why is Greg selling PPE? Find out the answers to these and many other questions when you join us for part 2 of our all-new Bobby Barr mystery later in the show. Sir Robert Barr of Manor, the sultry Kathy Kennedy, and the ever-versatile Steve Lee, bringing you the enduring mystery. Music now from our house band as we head towards the interval here on the Amerrycana Christmas. They're live on stage at the Grand Old Eastgate Theatre with a song called Things.
Every night I sit here by my window, staring at the lonely avenue, watching lovers holding hands and laughing, and thinking about the things we used to do. Thinking of things like a walk in the park, things like a kiss in the dark, things like a sailboat ride. What about the night we cried? Things like the lovers vow, things that we don't do now, thinking about the things we used to do. Memories are all I have to cling to. Heartaches are the friends I'm talking to. When I'm not thinking of just how much I love you, I'm thinking about the things we used to do. Thinking of things like a walk in the park, things like a kiss in the dark, things like a sailboat ride. What about the night we cried? Things like a lover's vow, things that we don't do now, thinking about the things we used to do. I still can hear the jukebox sound play, yeah. walked in the park, kiss in the dark, like a ship over by. What about the night we cried? Like a lover's vow, things that we don't do now. Thinking about the things we used to do. And heartaches on your friends outside with you. You got me thinking about the things we used to do. Thinking about the things we used to do.
And the fabulous DHRC house band there, live on stage at the 2021 Amerrycana Christmas show. Our first live show for 2 years, and we're still just getting started.
Now, the Downright Homespun Radio Company has been out and about on Peebles High Street during this busy Christmas shopping season. With one of the best high streets in Britain, Peebles attracts more than its fair share of celebrity shoppers, looking for that perfect present to put under the tree. Who's this, for instance, just stepping out of Tiger Lily with a festive wooden duck under her arm? Why, it's Lise Doucette.
You know, the dust and heat of the Peebles High Street always makes me feel like I'm out in Syria or Iran or Afghanistan. You know, whenever I get the opportunity to come to Peebles, I always visit my favorite shop, which is Kaling Home. I stuck up there on my headscarves, which I used when filming out in the Middle East. They are good quality, and I often get admired by whichever despot ruler I'm interviewing at the time. I love it here. It's a great shop. Thank you.
Lise Doucette there, enjoying the sizzling ambience of Peebles High Street. And while we're out and about, let's take the opportunity, if you can call it that, of catching up with our food and drink correspondent, Chick Fowle. Chick's been investigating the very many coffee shops to be found in Peebles. Chick, where are you? Chick?
Heartbeat 120.
Well, right now, Robert, I'm in Della's, partway down the high street, next door to the old tourist information place.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Has something happened to your voice, Chick? Anyway, what are you having to eat and drink there?
Well, let me see. I'm having 2 shots of Americana, and I'm also eating my lunch. I'm having one of their big haggis sausage rolls, which is delish. I like this place. I can recommend it. I'm just sitting in an outside cafe, eating and drinking and watching the world go by. All is good.
So, is all this on the DHRC expense account, Chick?
Well, I guess so.
Heartbeat 130.
So where else did you get to this time?
Yeah, well, I started in Cocoa Black for a wee snack, and then he was off to Coltman's for, well, another wee snack, and then he was here for lunch.
That's a lot of eating, Chick.
A lot of coffee as well, Robert.
So, Cocoa Black?
Yeah, well, there's a whole lot of chocolate there, Robert. Yeah, I had a chocolate creme caramel crunch with extra cream, washed down with a super-sized cafe mocha. That's like coffee, Robert, but with even more chocolate.
You're certainly hitting the sugar and the caffeine here, Chick.
Yeah, all in the line of duty, Robert. Just doing my job. That Cocoa Black place was clinical. It's like a chocolate laboratory in there.
Heartbeat 140.
Are you okay, Chick?
Yeah, are you kidding, Robert? I'm in my element here. I'm like Peppa Pig driving a car into a ditch whilst we hold a Christmas party at number 10. Or something like that. Anyway, I'm having fun.
Heartbeat 150.
What's that heartbeat 150 noise in the background, Chick?
Yeah, I don't know, Robert. I think it's coming from my Fitbit.
Fitbit?
Yeah. It's telling me some nonsense about my heartbeat. But you don't have to worry about it, Robert. Coffee and cake. This is my dream assignment.
Okay. So tell us about Coltman's.
Strange place that one, Robert. I gotta see the window so I can watch the world go by. Gee, that's a small Christmas tree on the parish church steps.
Heartbeat 160.
So the coffee was good enough, and I had a fruit scone with jam and clotted cream.
That's more caffeine and more sugar, Chick.
Yeah, the deli sandwiches look pretty good as well. I sat and I watched the trucks drive right over the mini roundabout for a while. It was kind of fun. You know, I felt like I was in a goldfish bowl, me looking out, others looking in, and then I moved on to Della's.
Of course. Look, just go easy, Chick.
I'm fine, Robin, I'm fine, and I'm looking forward to a few more coffees and maybe some more cakes and a few more coffee shops on Peebles High Street.
Heartbeat 170.
Yeah, just as I say, go easy there, Chick. That's Chick Fowl, our food and drink correspondent there, ladies and gentlemen, with a disturbingly high heartbeat. I think he's taking his job of reviewing the town's coffee shops with a bit too much relish. We'll check in with Chick a bit later in the show.
A double bill of music now on the DHRC Amerrycana Christmas, kicking off with our old friend Sir Robert Barr of Manor, farmer, man about town, and composer of original lyrics, which come to him usually whilst he's out in the middle of a field on a quad bike. Luckily, he carries a pencil and paper with him at all time, and here is his latest composition.
The people shall use. It's surely the cure for your Friday night blues. If you can't see the right, then you've nothing to lose. For a glimpse or a glass of the people shall use. The news is so hot, it's straight from the press. From the grave to the cot, we expect nothing less. The paper's still warm and the bread is still wet. For 19 new pence we expect nothing less. So here is the formula and it's worked through the pages. For a 5-minute fleet as you flick through the pages. To catch up on gossip, yes it is a good read. Or to see who's been born on this recently deed. It's a really good read to see who's been born on this recently deed. If you can't read the right thing, you've nothing to lose. Or a glimpse or a glance of the people shall use. Could write a letter if you've something to say, or follow the progress of a local osprey. And on the back pages, though it might make you snigger, there's news of the rugby club, you've guessed it, from bigger. Pages that make you snigger, the news of the rugby club, you've guessed it, from bigger. If you can't do the right thing, you've nothing to lose. For a glimpse or a glance of the people shall use. Nothing in it, you say? Now that's quite absurd. It's full of puzzles and quizzes and a giant crossword. What's happened at the Eastgate, or a day out in Doik, or in cookbook pages to a man from Hoyk? Nothing you say, that's quite absurd. It's full of puzzles and quizzes and a giant crossword. If you can't read the right, you've got nothing to lose. For a glance or a glance of the people shall use. So on Friday night, if you're feeling the blues, just order a copy of your Peebles Shire News. If you can't read or write, then you've nothing to lose. Just order your copy, just fax me a copy, just print me a copy, just find me a copy, just get me a copy of the Peebles Shire News. The Peebles Shire News.
I'm not even going to try and follow that. The inimitable Robert Barr, ladies and gentlemen, with the Peebles in New Song. To take us up to our interval this evening, it's the DHRC House Band on stage with the Mistletoe Kiss.
Listen, the mistletoe kiss, while your arms around her, your heart says you found her, and you won't astound her with your I love you. When the party stops and there you are, what do you say to her ma and pa? They will understand when you tell them this. Blame it on the mistletoe kiss, lots of fun you're sure to miss if you can't have that mistletoe kiss.
We're going to be taking an interval now for around 30 minutes to allow you ample time to get to the bar and socialise in a responsible manner. For listeners on FM and longwave right now, there are some messages from our local sponsors, and BBC listeners can catch up with the Archers. Here in the auditorium is a chance to grab a drink from the bar, head outside and whip off your mask and see who else is in here. See you after the break.
We're back with Sleigh Ride from the award-winning DHRC house band here on the Amerrycana Christmas, the traditional start to the festive season here in Peebles in the Scottish borders. The Downright Homespun Radio Company has been broadcasting the Amerrycana Christmas from Peebles since 1896. Ever since shepherds from the Manor Valley followed a star along the river into the town, finding a young radio engineer broadcasting Christmas music from the bell tower of the old parish church.
In this half of our show, Angus and Gordon are taking action on climate change. Tom Jones is shopping on Peebles High Street. Bobby Barr is in hot pursuit of a mysterious grey van. And there's music from our DHRC house band to transport you into the rich, warm camaraderie of the festive season. Goodness knows we all need that.
Before that, though, it's time to check in with our food and drink correspondent, Chick Fowle. Chick's been investigating the wonderful array of coffee shops we have open here in Peebles. And last time we talked to him, he was in Della's Cafe, tucking into one of their oversized haggis sausage rolls. Let's see where he's got to. Chick! Chick, are you there? How's the coffee shop trail going?
Hi, Robert. Robert, it's coming along just fine. Just fine. I'm really getting to experience, to experience a cross-section of different coffee shops. You know, there's an awful lot of coffee...
In Brazil?
Shops in Peebles. Let me finish my sentence, will you?
Heartbeat 170.
So where are you now, Chick? Where have you been?
I'm in the Eastgate Cafe, Robert.
Oh, okay, right here in the same building.
Yeah, that's right, Robert. And earlier, I went to Greg's and Ramblers.
Whoa, that's some heavy-duty coffee shops, Chick. What did you think of the new Greg's?
Well, it's a really great location, and they've got seats now. But half of them seem to be closed. closed up. I don't know why.
What did you eat and drink?
Well, in Greg's, I had a sausage, bean, and cheese melt, which tasted great, absolutely great. And a cup of their large salted caramel latte, of course.
That's quite a load, chick. No vegan sausage rolls?
Sold out, none to be had.
Heartbeat 180.
Is that your Fitbit making a noise again, chick?
Yeah. Safe, my heartbeat is around, let me see now, around 180, but pay no heed, Robert.
It could be the sugar, chick. Or the caffeine, or the cream, jeez.
Heartbeat 185.
185, whoa. Okay, so tell us about Ramblers, chick.
Yeah, Ramblers, yeah. I had lunch there, Robert, lunch, yep, lunch.
Another lunch.
There you go, I'm a growing boy, growing, yeah. It's there, that was a busy place, Robert. I drank a regular cup of coffee with French toast with extra maple syrup. Yummy.
That's actually quite restrained for you, chick.
I'm just trying to pace myself, Robert, before I hit the coffee and really big cakes here in the Eastgate. They are massive cakes, but I'll still manage to demolish a piece of this lemon drizzle cake with a side of whipped cream.
Heartbeat 190.
Are you feeling okay, chick?
Yeah, sure I am, Robert. Why?
It's just that. Oh no, never mind. So where are you going next?
One of the big change, Robert. Big change. Yeah. The only one in Peebles that claims to be just a top coffee shop. Can you guess which one?
Heartbeat 200.
I think that gives us an idea, chick. Listen, we'll see you later. Just take it easy. Chick Fowl there, taking the job of food and drink correspondent to the edge of available credit and credibility. We'll get back to Chick later in the show to see how he's getting on with eating an enormous plateful in what seems every cafe in Peebles. And now, on the Amerrycana Christmas show, because we believe in getting our money's worth from our actors, here's local aristocrat Lord Lee of Eschels to introduce our next musical number.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to an experience I've had of making cups of tea for friends and family during lockdown. It's perhaps something you may recognize. Take it away, maestro. Tea for two and who's for tea? It's not for cries used to be. The variations are immense, you see. Black or green infusions too, caffeine or not, it's up to you. But then of course there's more to it than that. Once upon a time it was simple fare, it was milk or not, and it ended there. Now it seems the options never end. Soya or oat, almond or goat, sheep or beaver or coconut too. It's enough to send you completely round the bend. It really is a massive pain. Who wants some tea? Was the evening refrain. The response you'll get now makes you wish you never asked. I'm not for milk, I don't want caffeine. Is this organic? That country's obscene. The people who pick this really are repressed. The simple advice you'll get from me is don't ever offer to make some tea. It really is the biggest pain in the arse. Just sit tight, do nothing at all. Have a beer, have a wine, maybe watch the football, and let some other mug take on this laborious task. Oh, so it's tea for two, and who's for tea? What's its carbon footprint? Please tell me. Oh yes, it's tea for two, and who's for tea? And the same thing applies to coffee.
Lord Lee of Eschels, a.k.a. Steve Lee, OBE, with new lyrics to an old song. Tea for Two and Two for Tea here on the Amerrycana Christmas, live from the grand old Eastgate Theatre in Downtown Peebles. Let's keep the musical mood going now with our DHRC house band celebrating the most wonderful time of the year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all, with those holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest season of all. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. The most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Most wonderful time of the year from the DHRC house band, celebrating the start of the 2021 Christmas season here in Peebles and around the world. It's our first live show in 2 years here on the stage of a grand old Eastgate Theatre, so another shout out to our intrepid audience here tonight. Masked, vaccinated and tested for disease. It's the cleanest audience we've had for years.
In these days of pandemic, it's useful to look back for guidance from our forebears here in Peebles. Dr. Clement Gunn was a well-known and well-respected general practitioner, writer, historian and innovator who lived and practiced in Peebles from 1885 through to his death in 1933. We've been researching Dr. Gunn's memoir, Leaves from the Life of a Country Doctor, looking for wisdom that might help us navigate the choppy waters of the current age.
Let's head over now to Lynn Doors on the corner of Young Street and the Old Town, Dr. Clement Gunn's home and surgery here in Peebles, and see what's happening in the first of our new series, Dr. Gunn's Casebook.
Can I have another slice of black pudding and chips, please?
Hi. But hello and welcome along to another ample portion of Dr. Gunn's Casebook. I'll be there in just a minute.
Can I have another slice of black pudding and chips, please?
Yes, of course, I'll be there in just a minute.
Any chance of more toast over here, please, Pat?
These days, I'm running the Lindor's bed and breakfast up in the old town, and that's no easy work, I can tell you.
They sure are great sausages. Where are they from?
Forsyths, where else? Now, the time was when I was a busy modern doctor in the parish of Peebles, around the turn of the 19th and into the 20th century. I was the first person in the parish to get a car, and the first to install a telephone. But the latest wee gadget is a voice tube that goes from the front door to my bedside. Now, I'd like to tell you about the time I got a late night call out from a patient that bided way up the Manor Valley. The call came about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was a cold, wintry night, of course. The wind was howling when I heard the doorbell ring. I leaned out of the window and shouted, "Use the voice tube!"
Doctor, can you come quickly, please?
Use the voice tube, will you? It's just there by the bell. I'll be able to hear you fine. Just speak into it.
All right, Doctor. Doctor, can you come quickly?
What was that?
Doctor, can you come quickly?
Oh, I can't tell a word you say. What was that?
Doctor, can you come?
Just shout up here, will you? I can't hear a word you're saying. The tube thing was useless, and I got Arthur Crettel to take it out the next day. Anyway, I grabbed my bag and started up the Manor Valley on foot through about 4 inches of snow. It was very crunchy snow that night, as I remember. Anyway, it was far too deep to consider taking the newly purchased car. Really? That's better. When suddenly a shadowy figure in a white cape went shooting past me. I thought it was a spectre, a ghost. It glided across the snow and made barely an imprint. So they do exist, I thought to myself. It just about scared the wits out of me, but I carried on for another mile. Through the crunchy snow. To the wretched dwelling occupied by a poor shepherd and his family of 6, co-sharing with 3 cows, 6 chickens, and assorted pregnant ewes.
Did you see Jock in the wine here, Doctor?
It appears that the eldest son, Jock, had taken a bad case of Russian flu, otherwise known as La Grippe, which was raging the area in the winter of 1889. Look it up. He'd become delirious and had broken out of the confines of the house. And was now running about the valley in the middle of a raging snowstorm like a madman. I think I did see him, I replied. I thought he was a ghost. After a worrying couple of hours, Jock finally returned to the house, exhausted, but seemingly none the worse for his experience. We warmed him up in front of a blazing fire. I inspected the patient and prescribed an award-winning Scotch pie and a cup of piping hot coffee from Forsyths on the High Street, to be taken every other day and twice on Saturdays. Case closed.
Hooray! Hooray!
Unorthodox, I'll give you that, but it did the trick. Jock was never again mistaken for a ghost.
He was too tired after his constant walks back and forth from Forsyths to the head of the Manor Valley out on a snowy night. And I got a constantly full loyalty card from Forsyths, as it all went against my account, you see.
Thank you very much.
And I installed a new telephone. Rather than that bloody voice tube. And that was that. Join me again for another episode of Dr. Gunn's Casebook. Good night.
Can I have that black pudding and chips now, please?
Steve Lee as Clement Gunn in Dr. Gunn's Casebook there, with a timely reminder to us that things could always be worse. Now, the Downright Homespun Radio Company has been out and about on Peebles High Street during this busy Christmas shopping season. With one of the best high streets in Britain, Peebles attracts more than its fair share of celebrity shoppers looking for that perfect present to put under the tree. Who's this, for instance? Just stepping out of the castle warehouse, carrying a festive shopping bag. Why, it's Tom Jones!
I think that Peebles is a lovely town. It reminds me of being back in the Rhondda. And whenever I'm here in town, I always make a visit to my favourite shop, Villeneuve. Is that how you say it? I'm never too sure. It's my favourite grog shop for miles around, and I always stock up with this rare whiskey mixed with honey that they keep for me. It's always a bottle for me round the back. It keeps my voice and my throat nice and supple. I love it. Sex bomb, you're my sex bomb, and you know how to turn me on. There you are, what's the treat? Good night.
Tom Jones sampling the fine libations available at Villeneuve Wines, right here next door to the Eastgate Theatre. And Tom's not the only one making a special Christmas trip to Peebles this year. Here's our very own Henry White and the DHRC House Band, live on stage to tell us who else is coming to town.
Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry, you better pout. I'm telling you what, Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not. I'm telling you what, Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to you why Santa Claus is coming. Santa Claus is coming. This is serious. Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, you better watch out.
Santa Claus is coming to town this year in full PPE and bringing festive lateral flow tests to every household this Christmas time. Now, when we dropped into the Tweedy Tea Room earlier, Angus and Gordon were engaged in a lively debate with a young climate activist who seemed to be challenging them to do more to protect the planet and protest about the state of insulation in our houses. Let's find out what they decided to do about it.
Whose idea was this?
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Oh, can't imagine what the wife's going to say when she finds out. My tea will be ruined.
Angus, Gordon, hold your ground. Don't let them move you. Stay exactly where you are. We've got this. You'll be fine. Insulate Peebles!
Stay where I am. I've got no choice.
We're glued to the bloody road.
This is going to ruin my trousers.
It's great of you guys to come to this Insulate Peebles protest. I'm so pleased. Really proud of you. And your grandkids will be as well. Just make sure you stay exactly where you are. Insulate Peebles!
Oh, I'm no sure this is what I had in mind when we agreed to help out.
I thought we might be helping to put up some Kingspan board and roll out some fiberglass on somebody's roof. We've ended up here.
Aye, and now we're blocking the A703 and causing disruption.
The 62 bus can't even get through.
Where's the publicity we're after? Guys, here comes the reporter from the Peeblesshire News. Insulate Peebles!
Reporter for the Peebles, you fat lot of good that'll do you. Stop smiling, Angus, this is serious.
Oh, sorry, it's automatic whenever a camera appears.
I don't know what the guys down at the Bowls are going to say when they see this in the paper next Friday.
Oops, here come the police. It's our turn to be shifted.
All in comms. Stay fast. Stay together. We'll be fine. Insulate Peebles!
What?
Well, think calm so they can't move us so easily. That's right, guys. Stand your ground. We can do this. Insulate Peebles!
Am I going to end up with a criminal record?
Well, probably not. They usually just let us go after a couple of hours.
Usually?
Sometimes it's longer. Insulate Peebles!
I mean, do we get a phone call?
Yeah, usually just one. I tend to order pizza from Franco's. Look, they let us go after a while. It's not a big deal. We're talking about the end of the world here. There is no planet B.
Ah, you said that before. Look, I've got to renew my car insurance next week. I can't do that if I've got a criminal record.
Come on, Gordon. What's more important? Saving the planet or your criminal record? Insulate Peebles!
Would you really like to know?
Anyway, you won't be needing your car. Remember?
I'm no sure this is a good idea.
Saving the planet, Gordon. Saving the planet.
Being able to look your grandkids in the eye when they ask, Grandpa, what did you do to stop global warming? Insulate Peebles! There is no planet B!
Aye, you're right. Come on, link arms on shout. Come on, you lot, everybody join in. Insulate
Peebles!
Insulate Peebles!
Insulate Peebles! This is not doing my piles any good.
Never mind that, we're here to save the planet. Once again, insulate
Peebles! Insulate Peebles! Insulate Peebles!
Just one last time before I fix this.
Insulate Peebles! Insulate Peebles! Insulate Peebles!
Put your hands together, please, for our special guest, Els Hill. Starring alongside Robert Bell and Steve Lee as Angus and Gordon. The Tweedy Tea Room is Peebles' original and best cafe since 1908. At the Tweedy Tea Room, there's no false bonhomie, no froth on your coffee, and no napkins sitting pointlessly under your scone. Instead, you can expect old-fashioned, surly Scottish service, solid china plates, and a generous aluminium teapot filled with tea that leaves a satisfying dark, greasy stain around the cup. Our coffee is brewed fresh every Tuesday and Friday, and our traditional rock cakes are still recognisable when they come out the other end. The Tweedy Tea Room is a haven of sensibility, stern looks, and reassuringly hard chairs. Please note that toilets are for paying customers only. With the recent uncertainty about public toilets in Peebles, coupled with an ageing local population, the Tweedy Tea Room has introduced the full bladder special. Just £3.99 buys you a small cup of builder's tea, a slice of bread and jam, and access to the toilets for up to 3 separate trips. The Tweedy Tea Room, putting the spit back into hospitality. Put your hands together, please, for our special guest, Els Milne, starring alongside Robert Park and Steve Lee as Angus and Gordon.
Let's hope Angus and Gordon get back to the tea room before too much longer. Coming up next on the 2021 Amerrycana Christmas show, the DHRC House Band is bringing us another wonderful Christmas number. Bobby Barr is investigating mysterious government contracts, and we're off down the high street to see who else is shopping in Peebles this Christmas. But before all that, it's Miller's time!
Yes, it's Miller's time! All time. Time for bull semen.
Ovulation hormones.
Extractors.
Dilators.
Inserters.
Thrusters.
Pumps.
Clamps.
Party hats.
Rubber mats.
Rubber bulbs.
Rubber gloves.
Rubber teats.
Rubber feet.
Rubber bubble bath.
Bobble hats.
Ripple tanks.
Nipple clamps.
Miner's lamps.
Pickaxes.
Tick hooks.
Toothpicks.
Sheep licks.
Red bricks.
Lipsticks.
Stick stacks.
Corn snacks.
Spice racks.
Quince jellies.
Rubber wellies.
Digital tellies.
Pork bellies.
Pink teddies.
Pedicures.
Vaccinations.
Operations.
Booster shots.
Rooster cocks.
Custard pots.
Gravel.
Rocks.
Sand.
Mud.
Manure.
Audio.
Casks.
Masks.
PPE.
Lip gloss.
Horse liniments.
Saddles.
Paddles.
Baffles.
Waffles.
Waffles.
Secret Santa.
And terracotta figurines.
It has to be Miller's.
Yes, it has to be Miller's. Over the bridge, along the road, up the hill past South Park Garage, turn right and park in a puddle. At Miller's, there's an extensive product range you really couldn't find anywhere else, even under the counter in the private consultation room at the medical hall. With everything you need for insertion, dilation, vibration, and lubrication that would make your most liberal childhood aunties raise their eyebrows, head over to Miller's of Peebles and other places as well.
From Miller's.
It's easy doing that, you know.
From Miller's to music now on the 2021 Amerrycana Christmas. Please welcome our award-winning DHRC house band on stage now. It's another smash hit, Merry Christmas, Darling.
Greeting cards have all been sent. The Christmas rushes through, but I still have one wish to make, a special one for you. Merry Christmas, darling. We're apart, that's true, but I can dream, and in my dreams I'm Christmasing with you. Holidays are joyful. There's always something new, but every day's a holiday when I'm near to you. Oh, the lights on my tree, I wish you could see. I wish it every day. All the logs on the fire fill me with desire to see you and to say that I wish you Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year too. Have just one wish on this Christmas Eve. I wish I were
Homespun Radio Company's very own house band. Our food and drink correspondent, Chick Fowl, has been wandering around the Peebles coffee shops and feeding back to us on what he finds. The last time we heard from him, he was right here in the Eastgate Theatre, having yet another cup of rich roast and a hefty slice of cake. Let's go back over to him now and find out where he's got to. Chick, where are you now?
Hey, Robert.
Chick, are you okay?
Yeah, well, kinda, yeah.
What happened?
Well, you remember my Fitbit? Well, it blew up.
Blew up? Really? What happened?
Yeah, it was hitting 210 heartbeats a minute, and then it started smoking. It's the caffeine, Robert, or maybe the sugar, or the sugar and the cream.
All three together. I did warn you, Chick.
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, I ordered a large mocha cortado.
Even more chocolate.
Yeah, and caffeine.
Where was this, Chick?
In Costa.
Aha.
2 handles, Robert. The cup had 2 handles. Can you believe that? That's how big the cup was. 2 handles. That's not a cup, it's a chamber pot. It was full of strong chocolate-flavored coffee. It threw me over the edge, Robert.
Over the edge?
Yeah. I'm on my way to the BGH.
BGH?
Yeah, like, I know, and you know the paramedic? Well,
Yep.
The paramedic, he called it like caffeine poisoning.
Oh.
Combined with being hyperglycemic,
Yeah.
it's really rare. My blood glucose is off the chart, Robert. My blood's turned to maple syrup whilst my brain's up there in the stratosphere.
You'll have to stay in the stretcher, sir. I'll have to strap you down.
Yeah, I'll bet it is, Chick. Look, I think you're going to be fine in hospital. I'm sure it's just a precaution.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. Yeah, sure.
Okay. So how would you sum up Costa, Chick?
No, it's the Wi-Fi, strong coffee, big choice, and big cups.
Well, professional to the end, Chick.
End? What do you mean the end?
I mean the end of the show.
Oh, hey, Robert, do we have coffee shops at the BGH?
I'm sure they do, Chick.
Yeah, well, I'll be staying well away from them.
Thanks, Chick. Look, I'll come and visit you after the show. A predictable conclusion to our food and drink correspondent Chick Fowl's overindulgent investigation into the Peebles coffee shop scene. Devotion to duty way beyond the call. Now, for the sake of completeness, we would like to inform listeners that, to our knowledge, coffee is also available at all the hotels and pubs in town, as well as Forsyth's, Jim Jack's, Caldwell's, Men's Shed, Mr. McGeever's, the new ice cream shop, and of course, not forgetting the infamous Tweety Tea Room.
Now, the Downright Homespun Radio Company has been out and about on Peebles High Street during the busy Christmas shopping season. With one of the best high streets in Britain, Peebles attracts more than its fair share of celebrity shoppers, looking for that perfect present to put under the tree. Who's this, for instance, just stepping out of the fat batard and carrying a festive shopping bag? Why, it's Dolly Parton!
From 9 to 5, what a way to make a living. I think I got something there. It's a darn good song, don't you think? Think it might be a hit?
It could be.
Oh, hi everybody, this is Dolly Parton. Yeah, it's Dolly here, just passing through Peebles on my way to the Three Brethren. And I just want y'all to know that my favorite shop in Peebles is good old Sammy Kim. I can get all my lipsticks and hairspray and powder, eyeliner, and of course perfume and such there at half the price at Boots. That's right. And it still costs me an arm and a leg, darn it. As I always say, it costs a whole lot of money to look this cheap. And remember, if you see a person without a smile, just give them yours. Y'all have a good day now, you hear?
Dolly Parton! Has she gone yet? No. Dolly Parton enjoying the wonderful local shopping experience available right here on Peebles High Street. With its constellation of Christmas lights, festive shop windows and traditional Christmas shrubs on the steps of the parish church, Peebles offers the very best of a jolly holly Christmas. Take it away, Patsy.
Holly jolly Christmas, it's the best time of the year. I don't know, there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and when you walk down the street, say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet. Oh, oh, the mistletoe is somewhere you can see. Somebody waits for you, kissing once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year. The mistletoe is hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you. Kiss him once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
High above Peebles High Street, in the attic rooms of the old Beaches building, are the offices of Bobby Barr, private detective. If you need someone to follow that cab, rifle through that drawer, climb through the window of that empty apartment and dig up the dirt, call into the offices of Bobby Barr. Cash in advance, expenses are extra, and don't call on a Wednesday afternoon if you know what's good for you.
I was heading down the road towards Amerrycana. Following a grey van, Amazon Prime and paperwork inside, and two suspicious characters in the cab. I kept my distance so they wouldn't support me. Miss Ruby Red's high-quality PPE was manufactured here in Peebles from local materials, but for some reason she couldn't get a contract from the government, while every retail outlet in Peebles High Street seemed to be official suppliers of cheaply made, imported PPE equipment branded with a silver fern. These guys in the grey van had just made a delivery of the stuff to Greg's the bakers, and I was hoping that now it would lead me to the source. It was getting dark, and we'd almost reached Amerrycana when the van suddenly slowed down, turned off the road, and headed down towards the river. I didn't know there was a turning there, so I pulled in and switched off my lights. I followed the van on foot as it made its way through a field that stopped at the edge of a long, flat area of grass. As I watched them through my binoculars, I could see they were looking up at the darkening sky as if they were expecting something. And then I heard it. A small plane was approaching from the south, and I now saw that the long grassed area was a landing strip for light aircraft. I'd seen it in old maps, but I didn't think it had been used for years. The two men climbed out of the grey van and opened up the back doors of the plane as it came into land. I decided to get a closer look as the plane pulled up near the van. The plane door opened and a small stocky man clambered down the steps. I thought I recognised him, possibly from the local newspaper, and then I looked again through the binoculars. He was talking with men from the grey van. There was writing on the side of the van, on the plane, and everything fell into place as I read what it said. Mundell & Sons, Imports and Exports. As the two men had started unloading boxes from the plane and stacking them in the grey van, I stood up and walked towards them. Excuse me.
What? Who's that?
It's Mr. Mundell, isn't it? Mr. David Mundell.
What? No. Who is that? I've never heard of him. And who are you?
I'm Bobby Barr, private investigator. You and I have met before, haven't we, Mr. Mundell?
I've never seen you in my life before. And who's this Derek Blundell you keep talking about?
You're not fooling anyone, Mr. Mundell. That's the same coat you always wear for you're concerned at looking at roadside photo opportunities in the Peebleshire News. Now, would you like to explain exactly what's going on here?
You're trespassing on private land here, and it's none of your business.
Never mind, I've worked it out already. This is all about being made trade envoy to New Zealand, isn't it? You're bringing in plane loads of PPE made in New Zealand and selling it through government contracts in Peebles High Street.
Yeah, why would I do that?
Because you're trying to get the trade figures up to make yourself look good. With the Prime Minister on the ropes, you fancy your chances at number 10. And this is all about trying to raise the Mundell name.
That's an outrageous lie. And anyway, even if it was true, what are you going to do about it? We're out here in the middle of nowhere. There's 3 of us and only 1 of you. I don't think you're calling the shots here, Mr. Barr.
So you do know who I am?
Oh, maybe.
Then you'll also know I'm not fool enough to come here without some insurance. You see that car over there? There's a camera and a shotgun microphone mounted in the windscreen, streaming in everything that's happening here back to a secure computer service in my Peebles office. Anything happens to me and that video evidence gets sent straight to the Parliamentary Standards Commission. Wouldn't look good for yet another Conservative MP, would it, to turn up with a second job? Your political career would be sunk, Mundell.
Look, it's my party and I'll lie if I have to.
Aye, but I also know about your corrupt little enterprise giving government contracts to your friends in Peebles to sell this Kiwi-made PPE equipment. I don't think your local voters would be impressed by another local corruption scandal, would they?
All right, what do you want, Bobby Barr?
I'm not the police, Mundell. I don't care about your schemes as long as I get what I want for my client, Miss Ruby Red.
Ruby Red, so that's who you're working for. She's a problem for us.
She's not anymore. I'm your problem now instead. You find a solution to help my client and I'll turn a blind eye to what's going on here. A couple of days later, I was back in my office. Mundell had given me his word he'd get my client a lucrative government contract. And he knew I had enough evidence to send him into the political wilderness if he didn't. I lifted the phone and called Miss Ruby Red to give her my report. I was sure there'd been a spark between us, and if things were going well for her, I hoped she might be open to the idea of lunch, even dinner.
Hello?
Ruby, Miss Ruby Red.
Oh, is that you, Mr. Barr?
Indeed it is, Miss Red. I'm just reporting back about your case.
Oh, Mr. Barr, I'm glad to hear from you. I've got good news.
Oh, yes.
I finally got a government contract to supply my PPE. It's a huge order, Mr. Barr.
I'm pleased to hear that. It could be because I...
Yes, I got a call from the New Zealand government in Wellington just yesterday. They heard about the quality of my products and they want me to supply my PPE for the entire health service over there in New Zealand. Isn't that great news?
The New Zealand government, but...
Yes, so I needn't have troubled you after all, Mr. Barr. I hope you haven't been inconvenienced at all, but I won't be needing your help now.
But you see, the thing is...
No, it's fine. You just keep the money I gave you. I'm heading out to New Zealand tomorrow to finish the deal, and I may even stay on there for a while to get things set up.
I see.
Oh, I have to rush now. I've got to pack. Goodbye, Mr. Barr.
Goodbye, Ruby. I stared out of the window for a long time, running Ruby's silky red mask through my fingers. A light sleep was blowing against the dirty window panes, sweeping paper bags and pages of old newspapers down the middle of the street. I peered out of the window, wondering if there was a room under the canopy in the queue outside Forsyth's, and whether there had been any sausage rolls left at this time of day. I got up dropped the mask in the bin, reached out for my coat and cigarettes and thought, what the hell?
Join us again next time for another thrilling adventure from the files of Bobby Barr, Private Eye. The intrepid Bobby Barr is played by our very own Lord Barr of Manor, along with Kathy Kennedy as the delicious Ruby Red, and Steve Lee. Steve Lee stepping in to perform after our local MP cancelled his appearance on the show tonight because he's needed by his party in London. There's something about a party in London anyway.
It's time for music from our house band now, ringing out those Christmas bells this festive season.
Dong, ding dong, hear those Christmas bells go ding dong. Some folks like to hear a Christmas song, but I like Christmas bells that go ding dong. Jingle jangle tingling or just bing bong. I love to hear them ring. Oh, ring those Christmas bells, ring those Christmas bells. While they chime, we'll have a happy time. So ring those Christmas bells. Ding dong, ding dong. Up above the stars are clear and bright, while all around the snow is soft and white. Santa and his reindeer soon will be in sight, and you will hear them sing. Oh, ring those Christmas bells, ring those Christmas bells. While they chime, we'll have a happy time. So ring those Christmas bells. Ding dong, ding dong. Oh, the music, love, and open sleigh, while every jolly jingle seems to say, happy, 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 happy holiday. Come on and join the fun. Oh, ring those Christmas bells, ring those Christmas bells. While they chime, we'll have a happy time. So ring those Christmas bells. Oh, ring those Christmas bells, ring those Christmas bells. While they chime, we'll have a happy time. So ring those Christmas bells, ring those Christmas bells, ring those Christmas bells. Hear those Christmas bells go ding dong.
Our DHRC house band ringing those Christmas bells to bring in the season. We're approaching the end of our Amerrycana Christmas show for this evening. Before our closing number from our house band, the Downright Homespun Radio Company has been out and about on Peebles High Street during this busy Christmas shopping season. With one of the best high streets, we can all sing along to this now, guys. With one of the best high streets in Britain, Peebles attracts more than its fair share of celebrity shoppers looking for that perfect present to put under the tree. Who's this, for instance? Just stepping out of the key store carrying a People Should Use and a festive shopping bag. Why, it's Hugh Grant!
Hello, and good evening. And as David Cassidy once said, when still part of the Partridge family, I believe, I think I love you. He was, of course, referring to Rogerson's shoe shop. Right there on the high street. And so, immortalised as it was then, what can I possibly add? Apart from saying, I got all my brogues there, and Panama Jacks, of course. And it is, and will remain, no doubt, until I stop dribbling on like this. My favourite shop in Peebles. Thank you.
Hugh Grant. Joining the throng of celebrity shoppers on Peebles High Street this Christmas season. It's the end of our show for this evening, and farewell for another year from the Downright Homespun Radio Company. Unless, that is, there's an unexpected general election in the coming months, in which case we could be back with our ever-popular DHRC election special. Please put your hands together for on stage tonight our award-winning DHRC house band. Alistair Ray on guitar. Jane Gregg on the amazing electric fiddle. Henry Taylor keeping it all together on the bass and the ukulele. Lauren Goldwater on piano over in the corner there. And in the other corner, Ian Beaton on all things percussion.
And on the microphones tonight, we have Henry White, Kathy Kennedy, Fiona Wilson, and Patsy Demmel. And let's not forget our Royal Company of Radio Actors, the silky voice of Kathy Kennedy as Miss Ruby Red. Sir Robert Barr of Manor. Keeping a firm hand on the tiller, Douglas Roberts. And of course, special guest star this evening, Els Milne as our passionate climate activist. Insulate Heroes!
And of course, the many voices of Steve Lee, OBE, and Barney Ashens. Our thanks, as always, for the tireless efforts of our stage manager and videographer, Anthony Newton, stagehand John Small, on the sound and lighting desk tonight, Cliff Carey. Thank you. Our thanks this year to Nomad Beat for our rehearsal space, and Lemon Digital for our Insulate Peebles banner, and to the staff and volunteer ushers here at the Grand Old Eastgate Theatre in Downtown Peebles. That's our show for another year. Keep safe. Keep cheerful, stay healthy, be thankful for the music and laughter in your lives, and even when things are stressful and uncertain. Our DHRC house band is on stage for one more number. Put your hands together, please, for Jingle Bell Rock.
Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bell ring. Snowing and blowing a bushel of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell chime and jingle bell time. Dancing bushels of fun. Now the jingle rock has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell chime in jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time, it's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time, it's the time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the block. Mix and a mingle in a jingle bell. That's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell rock. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, folks. Merry Christmas. One more. Do one more? We'll do one more. Is that okay with you?
Is it okay with you?
Some people better get a bus.
Nothing you can do that can't be done. Nothing you can sing that can't be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. Nothing you can make that can't be made. Nothing you can save that can't be saved. Nothing you can do, but you can learn how to lead you in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. You need to know that there's no. Nothing you can see that isn't shown. No you can be that isn't where you're meant to be.